Hello, Attenuation, a beer podcast listeners. A small disclaimer. In this episode, we will be discussing and mentioning some supplements, medications, and foods to help prevent or mitigate hangover symptoms. No material in this podcast is intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment, and before undertaking a new healthcare or supplement regimen. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard on this podcast. Thank you so much and enjoy the episode. Welcome to Attenuation, a weekly podcast where two friends come together to drink beer, discuss beer styles and trends, and just generally ruminate on the meaning of life, aka beer. If you enjoy your time with us, we invite you to become a weekly listener and subscribe to the podcast. Without further ado, here is this week's episode.
Hello, and welcome to episode 79 of Attenuation, a beer podcast. My name is Jason, and I'm joined by my best friend since 8th grade, Steven.
Hello.
How's it going today, sir?
Good. I'm already making faces at you, making you laugh through the recording.
You're trying to mess me up already. 10 seconds in.
He's so good. He reads the script and he doesn't mess it up, even though I'm trying to mess him up.
Yeah, he does. We're 1 week away.
1 week away from the Great American Beer Festival.
So next
I can smell it.
Yeah. It smells like body odor.
Smells like a bunch of neck beards drinking beer.
Next week's going to be episode 80, and we're going to record on location.
Yeah, we got to figure out how to do that.
Oh, yeah, we do.
So we got time.
We got a week. But isn't that, we couldn't have planned it any better, 80? It's a, nice round number.
Yeah, nice significant number.
Yeah,
or giving it significance. Because of the zero at the end. That seemed like a lot of episodes, though.
It's a lot of talking about beer.
It's too bad it's not number 100. That would be crazy.
Perfect.
Yeah, but 80's cool, too.
80's close. It's a factor of 10. Okay, but today, in preparation for next week, we're talking about Hangover Cures.
Yeah, which seems to be even more important now because I'm old and can't hang anymore with these young people.
We're about to be hungover, Steven.
Yeah, well, we're going to find out today all the ways we can avoid that.
Sir. All right, so that is our topic. But first we have to do our favorite segment of the podcast, which is drinking beer. And the way this works is I introduce a beer, give nose notes. Steven does the same. And then we cheers, taste, and do tasting notes.
What you got today?
So I'm busting out.
You said something about, bringing the heat.
Yeah, because next week we're going to be drinking some good stuff. So I feel like I got to warm up to it.
Okay, I like that.
So today I'm drinking Bourbon Paradise from Prairie Artisan Ales.
What? Okay, sorry, I have to interrupt you because we did not talk about the beers we were going to drink today, but I'm drinking Prairie Artisan too.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, so it's just a Prairie Artisan day today.
That's so awesome. Okay, shift topics. We should do Prairie Artisan deep dive, but we're not prepared.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
Okay, so
we're on theme. We have a theme. This is amazing.
Yeah, we have a sub-theme.
Great minds.
That's really funny. Okay, so this is American Imperial Stout. It's ranked 100 on Beer Advocate.
Nice.
It's basically just an Imperial Stout aged in bourbon barrels with coconut and vanilla. And I love bourbon, so I'm very excited.
Could not have planned that better.
And I got the goblet today.
Nice. Ooh, look at that motor oil. Like dirty motor oil, when you're doing your oil change. That's what it looks like.
Absolutely. I don't do my own oil changes, though.
You should.
Steven does. He's way more handy than I.
Or cheap.
More money for beer. Okay, this smells so good. It definitely smells like bourbon, but also like milk chocolate, vanilla. I am getting coconut. There's definitely booze on the nose, too.
What was your ABV?
It's 13.7.
Okay.
So it's no joke.
It's good.
It's basically wine at this point. Yeah, so it smells amazing.
Okay, so I also have Prairie Artisan Ales, but I have a side-by-side tasting today.
Oh.
And because it's fall, y'all, okay, we're drinking a pumpkin beer, 2 pumpkin beers.
Oh, it's a pumpkin side by side.
Yeah. So the first one is Basic Becky, because Basic Becky, she loves her pumpkin spice lattes.
Basic Becky and my wife.
She has that sign in her house, says it's fall, y'all, and hay rides this way. Okay, so Basic Becky is an Imperial Stout with pumpkin, cinnamon, allspice, nutmeg, coriander, clove, and caraway. So all the fall spices, and it comes in at a 11% ABV. Okay. Then the side by side will be with Basic Rebecca. She is just a tiny bit more sophisticated. That's a barrel-aged Imperial Stout with pumpkin and fall spices. So it's just a barrel-aged version.
Oh, okay, cool.
The same beer. So
nice.
She comes in at around 13.6% alcohol. So just get a little alcohol boost.
Yeah. Okay, you got to do the non-barrel first, right?
Yeah. Okay. So Basic Becky first. Pop the top with my official Attenuation Beer Podcast can opener. This one's also pouring like dirty motor oil. Trying not to spill it. I'm good at that. Yeah, nice and dark, very black, with just a smidge of brown tinted head, but it's minimal, basically gone now. Oh, it smells good. It smells it actually smells sweet pumpkin. Definitely getting that cinnamon and nutmeg.
Does it smell like a candle?
Kind of. Yeah. It smells like a fall candle. Yeah.
I don't know, it just has so many like pumpkin and spices. It just makes me think of like a candle I buy for my mom for Mother's Day.
Definitely a nice like milk chocolate smell too. So just a nice milk chocolate, pumpkin, cinnamon, nutmeg smell. It smells like actually a really nice fall candle. Okay. Now on to the Basic Rebecca bourbon barrel aged version. Same kind of pour. As it pours out though, almost a definitely lighter, a shade lighter and a shade thinner.
Okay, that makes sense.
This one smells like alcohol. Yeah, you lose a lot of the sort of pumpkin fall spices, and it's just very, very bourbony in the nose.
This is going to be interesting. I'm jealous of yours.
So this is more of the like raisin, brown sugar, toffee smells coming off of this one. Yeah, I would smell this and think pumpkin beer.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm not. It's covering up a lot of the pumpkin. Maybe just some like a sweet chocolate smell too, but a lot of bourbon.
I'm really excited to hear your thoughts on these.
All right, I'm excited.
All right, cheers, sir.
Cheers.
Oh yeah, this is this is a real deal. So on entrance, you get dark chocolate, like a ton of dark chocolate, and then you get kind of simultaneously like bourbon, sweet coconut, and vanilla, and that's kind of like the entrance. And then it kind of develops into, you get wood notes, tobacco, brown sugar, dark fruit, and then a long finish. There might even be like a hint of black cherry in there, and it flirts with sweetness. Like it's definitely sweet, but it's like perfectly balanced and never gets like cloyingly sweet. You do get like a flash of booze a little bit, and it's thick and oily, like the mouthfeel, but it's a good one. Definitely a thumbs up. I don't know if it would crack my top 10, but it's close.
Wow, okay.
It's one of those beers where you like take a sip and it takes like almost a full 10 seconds for all of the flavors to kind of like unfurl.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's awesome.
How are those pumpkin beers over there, Steven?
Okay, so I'll start with Basic Becky. So for this one, there's a lot of pumpkin, kind of like pumpkin milk chocolate. My wife makes a pumpkin cookie with chocolate chips in it.
Oh, cool.
It's kind of that flavor, so sort of a sweet pumpkin with a sweeter chocolate. And then that kind of develops more into a more bitter chocolate, a more roasted malt flavors. I'm definitely getting cloves. I'm definitely getting the nutmeg and the cinnamon, maybe to a little bit lesser degree, but this one feels like a pumpkin stout to me. I mean, bringing it up to the nose and drinking it, you definitely get this fall pumpkin and chocolate feel. It's not super sweet, but just sweet enough and very, very good. So I like this one a lot.
cool.
Basic Rebecca, so the bourbon barrel aged version, I'm not as excited about. So this one kind of comes in again with a lot of bourbon, so a lot of like sweet bourbon, a lot of brown sugar, toffee, kind of some like oak and leather, a fair amount of alcohol burn with a little bit of cinnamon heat. That's kind of the only spice I'm getting, and I'm not getting a lot of pumpkin. Just tastes like a lot of bourbon to me, and maybe I can't quite like get the nuance of it. Maybe somebody else with a more refined palate could, but
Do you know how long it was barrel aged?
don't know anything about it.
Yeah, it sounds like it just took on a lot of like bourbon characteristics, and maybe some of those spices sort of mellowed out over time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like it's much less of a fall pumpkin beer. Like the other one is in your face pumpkin, which, you know, maybe some people you would probably like the bourbon barrel aged version better. But I just feel like the basic Becky is just so perfectly executed. I think it's a 94 on Beer Advocate, one of the higher rated pumpkin beers for sure.
It's the 6th highest ranked pumpkin beer.
Okay, yeah. So it's and I think this is the first year they've done basic Rebecca. I don't even know if it's on the list or not.
It's not even rated yet. So it only has 3 reviews and 3 rankings.
Gotcha.
On Beer Advocate, which means it doesn't have a score.
Yeah. So yeah, I think this is the first year they've done both. Basic Becky, I think, has been a longer running pumpkin beer for them. But anyway, I'm not super keen on the bourbon barrel aged version, only because I think you lose a lot of the characteristics of the original pumpkin beer that kind of makes it what it is. So I don't know, you just lose a lot of the personality of the original pumpkin beer with the bourbon. So I think if you like bourbon, I think you would probably like it more. But
well, I also think not everything is made to be barrel aged. We kind of ran into that. Do you remember when we tried those tequila barrel aged gozas from France?
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, why? This is not necessary. A Goza is such a perfect beer in its original form. I don't think you need to barrel age it. So
yeah, a lot of like whiskey and bourbon barrel aged sours don't turn out very good.
Yeah, so just putting something in a barrel and adding time doesn't always mean you get something better out the other side.
Yeah,
you just waste time in a barrel.
Yeah. So basic Becky, thumbs up. Basic Rebecca gets a thumb down.
Okay.
For me.
That's fair. Well, that's really interesting. It's cool that you got to try them side by side.
Yeah, that was a Brewtique, my local beer shop. That was a little mini haul from them. I saw those two. I was like, oh, I got to do this side by side. Got to try it.
Based on what you said, I would suspect like in 7 months or something, when there's enough ratings of Basic Rebecca to have a score, I bet you it's going to end up at like a 91. I bet it'll be lower than Basic Becky. That's my guess.
It's a good call.
Postscript in 100.
Nice. So, good call.
All right, cool. Well,
it's recorded now. It's but
we'll never remember. All right, hold on. I'll write it in the notes.
We don't remember postscript from 1 episode ago, let alone 20 episodes ago.
I'm writing it right now. Okay, it's recorded. It's in the official document. Nice. Okay, next we have our triple segment of postscripts, beer news, and storytime with Steve. Postscripts is when we fix things from a previous episode. Beer news is beer news. And storytime with Steve is our special segment where Steven tells us stories from his life.
It's the most important segment.
It is, of the whole podcast. Okay, now question. Do we have any postscripts today, Steven?
I do. I want to add something about last week because we talked about Russian River. It sent me down the rabbit hole of like what breweries have the most Great American Beer Festival awards.
Oh, interesting.
Because I just thought that was interesting. And it's funny, I probably should pull up the list right now because I don't really remember specifics. But what I wanted to say, what I think is important about any of these breweries that have a lot of awards for the beer festival, because I think Russian River, I think they were like 6th or 7th on the list of most awarded. Okay. So there's a few that are most. I do remember that the most awarded beer of all time is the Alaskan Smoked Porter, by the way.
Really? And we're going to try that.
Yeah. So that's exciting.
Very exciting.
But yeah, as far as most awarded breweries, I think Anheuser-Busch and InBev, and I think they have a lot because they win for their American lagers all the time.
Yes.
PBR, I think, has won a bunch of awards for.
So Anheuser-Busch is number 3, Pabst is number 4, and Miller is number 5.
What's number 1?
Pizza Port Brewing.
Okay. Yeah, I remember it was kind of a weird one. And where does Russian River fall on the list?
Russian River is like 12th or something like that.
Oh, okay. Okay. So anyway, what I wanted to point out, I thought what was interesting is that I made an analogy to golf in my head. This is all in my head. If you're a fan of golf, like the PGA Tour, to be a like professional golfer and to be one of the top golfers in the world, you don't actually really have to win that many tournaments.
Oh,
yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's such a big field in terms of a PGA Tour event. In the grand scheme of like all the golfers in the world, you're elite, but that elite field is pretty big, and there's no defense in golf, right? So you just have to play your very best, and it's possible you play your very best and somebody just plays better than you that week. But my point is, it's very hard to win golf tournaments week in and week out.
Makes sense.
And even the best golfers of all time, the number of wins they have is not, I mean, it's big, but there's very few very, very elite golfers that have a ton of wins over their career. Sometimes even just one career win is pretty huge. There's lots of times where guys like Tiger Woods miss the cut, even at the height of their career. So they just have bad weeks. So my point is that in the beer festival, there's so many beers entered, and there's so many amazing beers entered. So to be a consistent winner like these breweries are, even if you say, Russian River, that's like one of the best breweries in the country, right? How has Pliny the Elder only won 5 awards, over the history? But like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
To have won that many times. That's why like when we look at Allagash White and how many times it's in like the top 3. I always mention Kolshan's Goza. It's literally always gets the top 3 award in the Goza category, like all consistently. And these are blind tastes.
Yeah, against like hundreds of other beers.
And it just like keeps rising above all the rest. It doesn't win gold every year.
Yeah.
And maybe it doesn't win. Maybe it doesn't get in the top 3 every year, but it's so consistently at the top that you can't deny that it's like one of the most elite. So anyway, I just thought that was a good comparison, just because I think it's similar in that you have this huge field, and the way to really show that you're one of the elite beers is not to necessarily win every time, but to be consistently in the top 10, top 5, top 10, right?
That's funny. It translates really well. I used to watch a lot of professional Magic the Gathering.
Oh, okay.
It's very similar because like they would basically have pro tours where like you could qualify for it. So you can play in like I'm going to mess this all up. But I don't think none of our audience plays Magic. Maybe a couple people do, but basically there was like 2 levels. Like you could go to Grand Prix where like anyone can go, so thousands and thousands of people play, and then if you do really well in some of those, you can qualify to go to a pro tour, which like you have to qualify to get in. But same thing is like they basically measure success in that as if you top 8, and you can get into the Hall of Fame even if you only top 8 like 2 or 3 times, because the odds of coming in the top 8 in an individual sport where it's like it's just you, it's incredibly difficult. So it's kind of cool. I never thought of it that way. It's like, it's that consistency. Like, sure, you might have one award, but like you mentioned, Russian River has 30 medals from Great American Beer Festival. By the way, Pizza Port Brewing has 98, and I don't think I've tried a single one of their beers.
I guess next week is the chance, right? Are they going to be there?
We're going. If they're we're going to Pizza. I need to learn more about this brewery. Because how did they win 98 times? That actually dovetails us into our one of our beer news segments, which is the Great American Beer Festival quote-unquote app.
Yeah, quote unquote. Yeah, so I finally they posted on Instagram about their app this week, and I realized and remembered that in past years, so technically it's not an app like you would get on the App Store. Basically, it's just a website, and the site is mygabf.com, and you go there, you log in, and then you can log your beers. You can do all that stuff that we talked about. You can search for beers. You can search for, they have a map on there of the beer festival. You can basically create a list of breweries or a list of beers that you want to try, and you can just kind of like cross them off as you go, so you can kind of keep track.
We'll show you where they're located, like in the floor plan.
Yeah, it has
that's
the.
what we need the most, so you can know where you gotta walk to.
Oh, so I will mention that too. So every year they change it.
It's so annoying.
Every year they try and figure out the best way to organize the booths in the beer festival.
Yeah.
And some years have been just absolute total misses. I believe the first year, the first year we were there, it was all geographical. Based.
Yeah.
So you'd have like one area of the Midwest or just, the West Coast or the East Coast. You had like South, I don't know. Anyway, and then within those sections from the brewery, like where the brewery is located geographically, then they were alphabetical within that section.
Yeah.
But like
the problem is you have to know what region.
Right. Yeah. Like maybe you don't,
and I don't.
Yeah. Or you're like, you keep looking around being like, okay, where's the Western region? Oh man, like that's across the whole building. Okay. So then they did it. They did it the way I thought they should always do it, which is completely alphabetical.
Yeah, pure alpha by brewery.
But they mixed it up. So they had a section where it was called the Meet the Brewer section, which is the ones where like the people pouring the beers are actually from the brewery. A large number of the breweries, they don't even have representative staff pouring.
Yeah, it's just volunteers.
Yeah. So then they had two different sections. They had a Meet the Brewer section and then they had a regular section. And those sections were both alphabetical. But like if you were looking for a C brewery and you're like, oh, it should be here. Like, oh no, it's in the C part of the Meet the Brewer section. It was still like, where is that?
It's incredibly frustrating. Yeah.
This year it is purely alphabetical.
Oh, thank goodness.
And I think it's smaller. We talked about how it's a little bit smaller footprint. So it's going to be so much easier to manage. Just by the letter. That's it.
That's the way.
And it kind of flows around the room. So I looked at the map and it's good. We're good.
Okay, good. It's a pinpoint where we want to go. I do remember just spinning in circles for like 30 seconds, being like, wait, which way do we go? Yeah.
So bad. And then you realize, you're like, I want to try this brewery. Okay, where is it? It's across the building. Okay, go over there. And then we're like, okay, we want to try this one next. Crap, it's
well, then we go to somewhere where you would expect it to be alphabetical and it's not there. And you're like, oh, it's in the Meet the Brewer section. So yeah.
That's so bad.
And like an hour in, you're tipsy. So
so now it's even harder.
Yeah.
It should be good.
Nice. All right, cool. So we have guidance from above, so we can cross-reference my Google Doc Excel pivot table with the.
Just alphabetize it.
Yeah, I'll alphabetize it. It won't be set.
But yeah, so this app is it's just basically web-based, and then you can go in and save it as a link on your phone, basically. So you'll get a little icon as if it was an app, but all it will do when you click on it is just take you to that website in your web browser. But it's still cool.
Yeah, and it will have like all the things you saved. It gives you like a unique link for yours.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So and then I was playing around with they have a tool on there where you pick a style of beer and it would generate a list of 20 beers from that style. The only problem is right now it's not updated. So if you hit that, it's going to give you beers from some past beer festival. I don't know which past beer festival, but
gotcha. The new beers aren't loaded in.
No, so give it some time to update. It's usually more updated, a day or two before the festival. So
gotcha. Very cool.
So yeah, that's the app. The app has been released. Oh, I did want to mention too, there's going to be there's a section called the Brewer's Studio. We've never done this before. And I know they do it every year, but they have a little walled off section that has like seating. And they'll have presenters, like people talking, or they'll have different like beer tastings, or they'll do a thing on like how to judge beer, how to taste beer, or whatever. And I think we've always kind of wanted to do it, but we've just been running around like crazy people trying to taste beers.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking maybe this year we can like be a little bit more mindful.
In our old age.
Take a break. But anyway, at the Friday night session, they're going to have two presenters in that area One is Sam Galagione from Dogfish Head.
Okay.
I don't know. For me, it's like a geek moment to even like see that guy talking.
And starstruck, Steven.
Yeah, and then the other one is Garrett Oliver, who is like the legendary brewer from Brooklyn Brewery.
Okay.
So those are two. They're just very exciting to me that those guys are talking at this beer festival. I don't know, it makes it real.
I want to nerd out with Garrett Oliver for sure.
Yeah.
That dude seems really cool.
The Saturday session in the brewer's studio is a couple different like beer pairings, food and beer pairings. One is a Wisconsin beer and cheese experience. So that might be interesting, but definitely Friday night is going to be, I don't know, celebrity status for me.
No, I'm down. I'm down to nerd out with you.
Yeah, those two are legends. So very excited about that. They do it right because I feel like every week they give me something to be excited about for the final like 4 or 5 weeks. They eke out information that just gets me more and more excited. So
slowly getting you pumped. We're at maximum hype, Steven. When this podcast release will be 4 days away.
4 work days away.
Oh gosh. Work's crazy next week too. I'm getting out like just in time. We've been like slammed on this project, and they gave us like 2 weeks off the weeks we're going, and I was like, oh, perfect. I was like, I'm booking vacation, and now they're like, we need you guys to work. I don't know. I'm like, whatever. It's too late. I'm going. Sorry. Yeah. You told me I could go. Yeah. Okay, so I have another beer news. That game we talked about on Steam, they didn't have a name for it before. They named it Brewmaster Beer Brewing Simulator. Is out. It's in full release.
Nice.
I played it, and I don't think there's enough. At least when I played the demo, I don't think there's enough content there. You're probably not going to sink a ton of time into it, but it was really cool, and it looks like they did add some stuff. So I'm going to throw it on my Steam. Are you familiar with Steam, Steven?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure.
Yeah, I'll throw it on the wish list, and I'll wait until it's on a good Steam sale. Yeah, check it out. It looks pretty cool. I did play the demo, and it was really fun. It's quite technical. You have to boil water and get it to like the exact temperature, and I don't know. It's pretty cool. So it will simulate.
I tried to,
the frustrations of brewing beer.
I tried to do the demo on my computer, but I don't have the gaming computer capacity that Jason has. I did not build the gaming computer, so.
We gotta build your rig. So build your rig.
I know, I gotta build a new computer. Yeah, it ran really, really slow and clunky. So I'm not quite sure if it's a RAM issue or a graphics card issue or what. But because I play other games, so I don't know.
Well, if I had to guess, probably not well optimized. So it's probably more demanding than it should be. That makes sense.
Gotcha.
But, All right, it's kind of cool.
All right. Oh, you want a story time with Steve?
Yeah, I was gonna say, do we have a story time with Steve?
Okay, yeah. So I mentioned going to the beer shop to get these basic Becky, basic Rebecca beers. So while I was there, the owner of the beer shop, we've at this point like developed a little bit of a relationship because I'm in there too much. So he always comes over and we just chat while I'm looking for beers, and he tells me all the new stuff he's gotten, and always tries to get me to buy the $80 Anchorage Stout.
That's awesome.
Like every time.
Good salesman.
He just keeps saying like it's the most expensive beer I've ever seen. But he noticed my tattoo, and so we were talking about beer tattoos, and he's like, yeah, that's kind of cool because he has that same kind of symbol of the 4 beer ingredients on his door of his beer shop.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And then he was like, yeah, I have my tattoo, my beer ingredient tattoo as well. And he's showing me his tattoo on his arm. And it's basically, I don't know if you've ever seen like in an anatomy book where they'll have the picture of the skull or the face, but it's basically just the skin peeled back. So you just see the muscles of the face. You know what I'm talking about though?
Yeah, I don't like that, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. So basically he has that like tattooed on his arm, that like muscle face, but it's all the beer ingredients are incorporated into it. So it's really like more of a beer ingredient tattoo head, but like it's just based on that head muscle model.
That's cool.
It's pretty sick, but it was just really funny, like that tattoo next to mine. I was like, oh, that's cool. Mine's really basic.
Yeah, this is like next level, dude. You gotta up your tattoo game.
It's just this awesome, just visually amazing tattoo on his arm with all this cool symbolism like meshed into the image. I was like, yeah, I just have this simple tattoo.
Was his full color too?
Kind of. It's not like super colorful, but yeah.
It's cool. Yeah, there's levels to tattoos, I guess. I like yours though. Simplicity I do like.
He humored me at least.
He's like, look at the face.
Like, oh yeah, I have that one on my door.
Oh my gosh, that is too funny.
No, but it's always fun to go in there because it's cool. It's kind of cool to feel that I have this relationship with this beer guy.
Oh, being a regular anywhere is amazing.
Yeah, it's a good feeling. It's so weird, isn't it?
I used to go a long time ago. Every Monday I would go to this Indian restaurant because I had Mondays off and go at lunch by myself because I'm a weirdo for their buffet. And eventually, it's like one slower period of the day, and I got to know like everyone that worked there, and eventually got to know the owner. And then he'd always try to get me to eat weird stuff, and because he would see me every week, and I'm this weird guy coming all by myself. So it's like, yeah, that was really fun. So no, I like those being a regular somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good feeling. It's just one of those like when they know you. And we used to have those people at the pizza place, where you just knew exactly what they were going to order.
Yep. And
it was kind of funny. It was almost like you want to anticipate their order. Like, hey, same thing you get every time. I always felt like they were going to be like, no, change it. They would feel like offended. Like, no, I don't get the same thing every time. And they're like, well, yeah, just make the same.
I worked at a restaurant.
Like, bro, it's okay. I'll make you the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't need to be defensive about it. Yeah. When I worked at a restaurant, we had a regular. He was like a retired guy. I think he was a bachelor, or he, whatever reason, he just was by himself all the time. But he would come for breakfast and dinner every single day at this diner, and everyone knew him. It was just fun because he was kind of a wild personality.
Yeah.
I want to cook. Had lots of money. Yeah. So, anyways. All right, cool. So that's our Postscript Beer News and Storytime with Steve. Are you ready to get to the main topic, Steven?
Yeah. Tell me how to not have a hangover.
Yeah, we're doing Hangover Cures because in a week we will be drinking way too much beer and being very hungover. So we're doing our research this week. Steven's going to come at us with the real science, and I'm going to read a BuzzFeed article.
Well, I mean, I'm the medical professional, so I should at least bring a little bit of science to the table.
Yeah, we need science out of you.
Even though I will start off by saying it's not technically known for sure what exactly causes the hangover symptoms. I mean, there's general idea of hydration or whatever, but technically it's not actually 100% known why you feel so crappy. So we'll start off with that caveat.
All right, we'll keep that in
mind. Now we'll tell you how to cure a hangover. In my professional practice, we use a medicine called propofol, which is a sedation medication. Okay, so this is what they're giving you before they intubate you for a surgery. This is what they're giving you for a colonoscopy. This is it basically within about 10 seconds of them giving it to you in your IV, you fall asleep. Like you're taking a nap, basically. You just fall asleep. You don't know what's going on. And then it has a short half-life, so when they turn it off, you wake up pretty quickly. They don't know how it works.
That's amazing.
Isn't that crazy? Like they don't actually know.
Like
they don't know what
action. Yeah.
Nope. They just know it works.
Biology is incredibly
Isn't that fascinating?
Complicated. Have you ever seen well, you probably don't even use this, but have you ever seen there's like an image of all known metabolic pathways? Have you ever seen that?
Oh, I have. It's actually, what's the word? Scary?
It's the same feeling I get
confusing.
When you look at
It's I don't know.
It's
unbelievable.
Yeah, sorry.
No, go ahead. No, I'm just trying to think of hyperbolic words for how I feel when I look at it.
No, it's the same feeling you get if you ever look at have you seen the Hubble Deep View?
Yeah.
Where they show this is if you hold one finger up to the sky, there's thousands of galaxies in that one spot. It's the same feeling I get when I look at the known metabolic pathways, because there's probably thousands and thousands they don't know about. So it's so crazy.
Yeah. So the feeling of being small, or just not knowing, the lack of knowledge.
There's gotta be a German word for it, but it's
It's always a German word.
It's the inconceivability of infinity, if that makes sense.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Staring into the void.
Exactly. It's like existential crisis fuel.
For sure.
So they don't know how that works. They just know it turns you off magically. And when they stop giving you to it, you turn back on.
You wake right up. Yeah. What's amazing is they even discover these drugs.
Who figured this out?
Yeah. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting, but it's very similar. It's a lot of medicine, a lot of in biology and health that we don't actually understand. So you can kind of look at like reasons why you are hungover, and there's I think it's multifaceted, but
yeah. Well, it's dehydration. You don't sleep as well when you're intoxicated.
Yeah, you lose.
Probably some strain on your body for processing all that alcohol. So it's like you're using energy. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's liver toxicity, right? So anyway.
And there's other like probably byproducts of that as well. So you don't know why it happens, but if you drink a bunch of alcohol, you feel bad the next day.
Yes, and we are here to help you avoid that.
All right, so what's your first advice, Steven?
So my first and most basic advice is Pedialyte.
Okay.
So some people will recommend Gatorade. There's these new powder packets called IV hydration or liquid IV. I think is what it's called.
This liquid IV thing.
Basically, so all of these recommendations are essentially hydration recommendations, but also electrolyte replenishment. So when you drink a fluid that also has electrolytes, trying to increase intracellular fluid, you want to hydrate the cells. So anyway, adding electrolytes into the fluid does that more effectively than just straight water. So, and then, you lose electrolytes when you sweat. Sometimes people have a difficult time regulating their body temperature while they're sleeping after alcohol. So you maybe tend to sweat a little bit. So just not only increasing hydration, but replenishing any lost electrolytes. And of course, we all know that when we drink a bunch of alcohol, we pee a bunch, right?
Breaking the seal.
And so you got to replenish all those, not just the fluids, but the metabolites and electrolytes that you lose in your urine as well. So that's the main goal. The nice thing about Pedialyte is that it has some B vitamins in it, and it has some zinc in it as well, more than Gatorade has. And those are two things that scientifically may reduce hangover symptoms. So B vitamins and zinc. So some people just take a supplement blast of those things before they drink, if you have enough forethought to do so.
That's the problem, is the forethought part. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think to really avoid a hangover, there is a lot of pre-work that would go into it by making sure you're pre-hydrated, making sure you're pre-fed, and also like supplementing with some of these other things with these vitamins and minerals that might help, and doing that all before you drink. In these cases where it's like lots of times 2 or 3 drinks maybe just socially turns into 5 or 6 or something, and you did not plan to drink as much as you did, and that kind of stuff.
So anecdotally, I had a phase in my life where I would binge drink.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not proud of it. And we had determined that what we would do when we were going to get into it is we would buy like the 32-ounce Gatorade, and we would put it in the fridge. And then we were within like walking distance of the bars, so we would pregame, I call it these days, but we would drink before we went out, and then we would drink while we were out, and then we would come home. We would always know, like religiously, we needed to go to the fridge and just pound that 32 ounce of Gatorade and then go to sleep. And we swore by it. I don't know if it actually helped or not. What really happened is you'd have to wake up like 2 hours later and pee.
Yeah. And you were younger then. That probably helped.
And we still got hungover. Yeah. So bad time.
Yeah.
All right. So BuzzFeed is telling me you should do this combination.
It may be a credible source on this, actually.
This one actually sounds pretty good, because this is like, I'd never seen this combination, but maybe we should make a kit of this for when we go. Gatorade, which anecdotally we said I rely on.
Yeah.
Emergency, which is like those packets, and then an Alka-Seltzer. So basically take a big Gatorade, pour an Emergency in it, and then put Alka-Seltzers in it.
Dang.
And then eat something incredibly greasy, like a double cheeseburger. I think that is like the trifecta of Hangover Cures.
That's pretty good. So you're eating the cheeseburger like soon after you were drinking, like all before you?
I've always heard that you're supposed to eat something super greasy in the morning when you're hungover.
Okay, yeah.
And like go to breakfast and eat bacon or something like that.
Yeah.
I feel better.
Yeah.
Steven's like giving me a doubting face.
Well, I don't know if you remember, but the first year at the beer festival, we got up early the next day to go do a hike.
Yeah, we're crazy.
Again, not really sure why we were doing that.
Wait, are we mixing a hike in this year?
No, we don't have
Why?
time.
We got to do it.
We don't have time. Well, maybe we do have time, actually.
Nice.
We might, but
All right,
anyway.
we'll do some last minute research.
So we got up early to do that.
Oh, I remember.
And we went to a breakfast place. I just looked at my food.
Yeah, you were out of it.
Yeah, it was not possible for me to eat
Well,
that.
and then the hike. This hike was amazing. We should just do this hike again because I want you to experience it. But anyways, poor Steven is like hungover. Like he's like close to death. Because I think the problem was like the first time you went to the beer festival, you were pretty new to drinking. So I think that's the first time you ever drank that much. And
yeah, I mean, even I think now I don't have that many experiences in my whole entire life of like really drinking a lot. Yeah.
And the problem is at the festival you just get carried away because you're excited and you want to try things and you just don't think about it.
And everything is a 13% barrel aged stout.
Yeah, and everything is free, so like you could just drink as much as you want. But we had to drive. I don't remember if this is the first year or the second year, but we had to drive off road.
That was first year.
That was the first year for like a mile, which takes like when you're going 5 miles per hour, it takes what, like
25 minutes.
25 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, 20 minutes. Yeah.
For like 20
15
minutes driving on gravel, basically. And poor Steven is just like sick as a dog. But the hike was 100% worth it. Unfortunately, Steven didn't get to make it, but it was like.
Because it was up to a fire tower lookout, right?
Yeah, it was a fire tower. So it was like a hike up kind of. There was a lot of elevation gain. And then at the end, you climbed up all these stairs to this. It was an active fire tower, too. So like it was actually like a manned fire tower. So someone lived in a cabin at the bottom. And then they would go up during the day and look for fires. And the view from up there was unbelievable. You could see miles and miles and miles. And you were at the bottom.
I was like,
I felt so bad for you.
At some point, you dropped me off and I just stopped.
I was like, we don't.
I was just throwing up a bunch of
and you were like,
at the side of the height.
Just go without me. And I was like, okay.
I mean, mostly I was just impressed by the fact that Jason was just unaffected by the night, by the night of drinking before.
It was my years of binge drinking in college.
I think that was what I was most frustrated by. It's like, dang, this dude's got a liver of steel or something, man. Ooh, he's crazy. Because I, like, historically, now not with like drinking, not with like alcohol involved, but historically, I am the person on a hike. You cannot slow me down. I've done Angel's Landing in Zion with my 6-year-old on my shoulders. I don't care. I will go. I will hike all day. I'm unstoppable. So in fact, another occasion in Zion, we were doing like, my brother and I were doing this backcountry hike. And we did this one together, actually, at the subway. We did that one, didn't we?
Subway hike? Yeah. Unbelievable.
So when I did that with my brother, it was very, very hot. And you kind of have to like go down into this ravine, follow the river up to where you're going. And then when you come out, that last like mile is straight up the side of this ravine. And it's kind of unprotected. So was getting a lot of sun that day. So anyway, at some point, my brother was just dehydrated. We had run out of water. We both had, and I just like sat him in the shade because he was getting dizzy and lightheaded. And I just like basically ran the rest of the way out. Went to his store, got more fluids, and like went back and ran like all the way back to him. That's just like, I just do that. Like I will just go, and I do not need fluids. I don't need anything. But that day. The alcohol and the elevation, I think, combined just absolutely killed me.
Yeah, you were not doing well, which is rare. You are usually the super hiker that's like unstoppable.
Yeah, not that day. I could not go. I was just throwing up side of the trail. And then these people were coming up the trail looking at me like, dude, are you okay? I just kept being like, I'm good. I was at the beer festival last night.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, yeah, we get it.
That's so funny.
They're from Colorado. They understand.
Okay, so I have another one I think I want to try, a beer cure. This is from BuzzFeed.
Okay.
We'd have to do a little pre-purchasing. I don't think this is going to work.
Okay.
Honey barbecue Fritos.
Oh, I didn't realize you were getting fully scientific here. Sorry.
Which are which are delicious, by the way.
Agreed.
And Wild Cherry Pepsi, which is hands down my favorite.
The best Pepsi.
It's the best soda. It's the best soda, Stephen.
The best
It's
soda.
not the best Pepsi.
Sorry.
It's the best soda. So I'm very biased because I love both of those things, and I don't know why it's on this list, but it says it will cure my hangover, and I want to try it.
Well, there's definitely some sodium involved there. Definitely some sugar involved there. Some hydration, a little bit of fat. Those Fritos are corn-based.
Corn-based.
If you ever look at corn chips at Frito like nutrition fact label, it's scary how much fat is in those. So
really,
it kind of is a sort of a combination of like greasy, sugary, sodium.
Okay.
The trifecta of a hangover cure.
We're gonna try that. I want to try.
It's like a tasty way to get all the things you need.
Yeah. It's more tasty than, although I kind of just want to try a Gatorade with emergency and Alka-Seltzer in it because it will be like some horrible concoction that's bubbling.
So Alka-Seltzer is aspirin based.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like salicylic acid or whatever aspirin is. Yeah, so that's kind of, I think that's the key there is you're getting a little bit of aspirin. Gotcha. That was what I was going to talk about next, actually, was taking some sort of anti-inflammatory medication.
Oh, now preemptively or?
Both. Yeah, before and after. I'm like, ibuprofen is it's like my favorite drug of all time because inflammation is the source of a lot of, like, if you have a sore throat, it's because you have inflammation of your throat, right? It's laryngitis or pharyngitis, right? So if you sprain your ankle, you have inflammation, right? So inflammation is the source of the pain of a lot of your issue.
Okay.
So ibuprofen is an anti-inflammatory medication. I take it so much. I don't take it like so much that I would get a stomach ulcer, which is one of the issues with long-term ibuprofen use. But I just love it as a medication in general for almost any ailment because it's just so good at decreasing inflammation.
It's so funny that you say that because I take ibuprofens like they're candy, and my wife gets so mad at me. Because I get like the Costco one that has like 500 in it, and she yells at me because I always take them and then leave the bottle on the counter. And she's like, "Did you take ibuprofen?" I'm like, "How do you know?" She's like, "You left the bottle out." I'm like, "Oh," but I love ibuprofen.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a great drug, and it's really safe, and it's actually a lot safer than, say, Tylenol, which is also another anti-inflammatory medication, but it's also a little bit more liver toxic. So taking that in combination with alcohol, when your body metabolizes alcohol, is also damaging to the liver. You don't really want to take both of those together. So you want to avoid Tylenol, which is another great drug, just not good in this situation. Aspirin is another one. Aspirin is a great, very, very safe pill, and you can actually take aspirin that has like a buffered aspirin that has a coating on it that's much less likely to cause GI upset. So a buffered aspirin, which again is why that Alka-Seltzer is effective as well. It's just a nice, gentle way to get some aspirin in your system. A little bit of anti-inflammatory effects there, which is again another one of those things where it's like we don't know how hangovers are caused, but inflammation is probably a source of some of your discomfort.
Okay, interesting. So you're tackling that if you take some ibuprofen.
Yeah, and you're tackling, just the head. It's good at good at headache pain and that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, ibuprofen. I love ibuprofen. It's such a great drug. Dude, also don't take medical advice from your beer podcast.
We don't.
Can we just put that disclaimer?
We need a disclaimer. We're idiots. Don't listen to us. Okay, I got another fun one from BuzzFeed. Are you ready?
Yeah.
An egg drop soup and lemonade.
Okay.
Do you think we can get egg drop soup in Colorado?
Probably.
I want to try this one.
Yours are so much better than mine.
The other one that's similar to this is pho, like a bowl of the soup.
Okay.
Which I love, so I'd be down to try that as well. And they say put sriracha in it, which I love sriracha. Okay. So we have a lot of options. These are all, of course, BuzzFeed suggestions, so it's not scientific, but...
Yeah, no, it's okay. I mean, I think they are in some ways scientific, because that's, again, probably a lot of sodium.
Yeah, you're getting salt, carbs, protein, a lot of liquid.
Yeah. And again, that sodium, right? Like your body is going to retain fluid. When your sodium level goes up, your body is going to try and like hold on to fluid so that it doesn't dry out, right? So in a way, it's not hydrating yourself, but you're not dehydrating yourself, right? You're not peeing out because your body keeps the fluid back to keep that sodium level straight.
Gotcha.
So
yeah.
So yeah, probably a lot of salt there.
Yeah,
a little bit
definitely
of
salt.
some fat for sure. I get it. Makes sense. So one of the other things I guess we haven't talked about really is a hair of the dog, right? Using alcohol.
Oh.
So hair of the dog comes from, the full phrase is hair of the dog that bit you, right? Mm-hmm. So drink the thing that made you hungover, basically. And the rationale behind that is that if you're what they think it may be a cause of some of the hangover symptoms is withdrawal from alcohol. They actually say that studies have shown that hangover symptoms tend to start once the blood alcohol level reaches 0 again.
Okay. Interesting.
So if you can continue to drink, bump it back, drink something with a little bit of alcohol so that you're not fully withdrawing from alcohol, may be a help in hangover. It's kind of like, how alcoholic just never stops drinking, so they're never hungover. They say actually that may be a source of some people's drinking problems, is that they continue to drink to just never feel bad. Otherwise, because at some point you're gonna withdraw, right? Yeah. So hair of the dog that bit you.
So we got to have are you a fan of Bloody Marys in the morning?
I like the idea of Bloody Mary. I like tomato juice. Just tomato juice without anything in it. So
okay, maybe we'll do a Bloody Mary.
I've always been a big V8 fan.
Oof, I don't know if I can do just V8, but
weak. But V8 with some, what is it, rum? What do they use in a vodka? What do they use in a Bloody Mary?
Bloody Mary, I think vodka.
Okay, yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, I had this is an aside, but I had a 1%er experience. Are you familiar? The 1% of people.
Yeah.
There's a restaurant in Disney World called, I don't remember what it's called.
Is this the one at the top of the tower?
Yeah, they used to do this thing called brunch at the top. Okay. And you'd only do it two or 3 days out of the week. And it's unbelievable. Wow. Being super wealthy must be so nice. But because you take this elevator to the top of the hotel and the doors open and there's live music happening and they seat you and it's just this incredible fancy breakfast. But one of the big draws of it is they have a Bloody Mary bar. So you get to go up and order this Bloody Mary and they just have every conceivable thing you can put in it. So that was a good Bloody Mary experience for me.
Nice. Yeah, we should start doing story time with Jason. You tell us all about these fancy restaurants he's been to.
My wife is just really into Disney, so she knows all this obscure stuff. I would have never.
Did you have to get that reservation the minute you possibly could?
We got it 6 months in advance.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's just one of those things I could have lived my whole life and never knew this thing existed, but because she super researches every possible experience you can have at Disney, she knew it existed. So it's
That's awesome. Bloody Mary bar. That sounds really cool.
And the view was just incredible. You're just very high in your elevation is very high because you're at the top of this hotel and it's all glass. So you can see in every direction. Now it's all the park. So
dang, that's cool.
It's really cool.
Nice.
Yeah. Bloody Marys.
Yeah, that's probably not a bad hangover cure. One of the things I was reading, this isn't really an issue with beer, but it's more of a hard liquor thing. The darker hard liquors tend to be worse than the lighter.
Why is that?
So apparently the dark liquors tend to have more, they all have ethanol in it, right? That's ethanol alcohol, but some of those have menthol in them as well, because that's just another alcohol. And it's thought to believe that the metabolism of the other alcohols just creates more toxicity, more free radicals in the liver. Oh, okay. So I'm going to talk about this pill. It's actually, I think, available in the UK. It's not there's probably an American version at this point, but it's called Merkel. It's a Swedish company, and they did some of their own studies. So I'm not quite sure. I haven't really delved into how credible these studies are, but the study showed pretty good effectiveness for hangover cure, and basically it contains a supplement of L-cysteine, which has just shown in studies of with alcohol consumption to decrease hangover symptoms. So acetaldehyde is the toxic compound that's made in your liver during the metabolism of alcohol. This L-cysteine apparently binds to acetaldehyde and makes it non-toxic, I guess. So that's the reason for the L-cysteine, to maybe decrease the toxicity of acetaldehyde. Then it also has vitamin B12 in it. So the idea behind this is that in long-term alcoholics, they tend to be deficient in B12 vitamin. So they figure, well, probably not a horrible thing to give B12 with alcohol consumption.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. So those two things are given. And then there's also 2 probiotics. This is kind of the interesting part. So there's 2 different bacteria in this supplement, this pill, both of which have shown to produce a molecule called alcohol dehydrogenase, ADH, and aldehyde dehydrogenase. They produce these enzymes that break down the toxic chemicals.
Okay.
And so prophylactically, preventively supplementing with these probiotics, they think could increase your metabolic rate of alcohol. So what's kind of interesting about this is that in a way, these don't necessarily attack the hangover cure from an acute alcohol consumption way.
Okay.
It's more like overall, if you were to take these over a long period of time, you could probably increase your metabolic rate of alcohol, meaning that you could drink more and have the same hangover as you would if you had had less before having these probiotics in your system.
Interesting.
So which actually would probably be perfect for the beer festival in a way, because then you could just drink more. It would just take you longer to get drunk, basically, and it would take more alcohol to get you drunk and hungover.
Which is perfect,
right?
Because
so
that's just what we want to do is taste a bunch of beers. We don't necessarily want to be intoxicated.
Yeah, exactly. So in the case of being going out with your friends, right? You want some intoxication.
Right.
Yeah, I guess it would be nice to drink more over the course of the night, or but you don't want it to be more expensive to get yourself drunk.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is
oh my gosh,
beer fest, everything is free, but at the bar you got to pay for every drink. Yeah.
So feeling like you can drink more at the beer festival and not be hungover the next day is actually kind of a nice side effect. So maybe both of you and I should start taking these probiotic supplements.
No, I like that idea a lot.
For the next week straight. I don't know. Might help. Might not.
Build up to it. Yeah.
Maybe the placebo effect will be enough.
And I guess the beer fest is not free. We're paying a lot of money to get in. But once you're in,
true. Once, yeah.
You can have. They don't stop.
I bought the ticket so long ago. It feels like it's true.
Yeah, they don't stop you. They don't cut you off. You can drink as much. I assume they eventually cut you off, but you can. There's no tickets. There's no quotas. They just keep pouring for you.
Don't drop your glass.
Have we ever talked about that?
I don't think we ever have.
I don't know. Were they glass the last time we went?
Yeah.
Okay, so they
plastic only the very first year, I think.
Yeah, they give you a glass, which is awesome because I want to drink out of a glass, but inevitably, because there's a lot of people that are very intoxicated, people drop them and they shatter. And there's this culture that's arisen where whenever someone drops one and you hear it shatter, everyone just yells oh yeah.
So stupid.
It's so dumb, but you just it's already so embarrassing to drop it because then you got to go back to the front and be like, I dropped my taster glass.
You have to beg for one because for a while the rumor was they wouldn't give you another one.
Really?
I don't know if that's actually true.
Oh, I thought of another tip, by the way, if you're going to the beer fest for the first time, and this sounds ridiculous. It's the same way we look down on the people with the pretzel necklaces. If you see 90% of people doing something, there's probably a reason. They're not all delusional. So anyways, this sounds so dumb, but they make these hangers, it's a necklace you wear that has a cozy for your taster glass, because when you're just very intoxicated and you're trying to get to the next place, sometimes you don't want to be holding your glass because you might drop it and be one of those people that get yelled at. So if you have one, or if you can get one, because they give them away at the beer fest, but it's kind of hard to find the booth usually.
Yeah.
It's really nice to have something. It's like a little necklace, and you can just tuck your little beer glass into this cozy, and it holds it for you. It's very nice.
See, I feel like my anxiety is enough because I'm just caught holding this thing.
Yeah, you're I know
to my chest. I'm not going to drop this glass.
And I probably one gets dropped like every 5 minutes just because of the volume of people. Like it's constantly happening.
Yeah, it's just so many people. I mean, it's just so easy to like get your elbow bumped or something and just have it fly out of your hand, which again will not happen to me because I'm aware of every single person around me at all times.
This reminds me. So when I pack, I'm gonna find my my little.
You still have one?
Heck yeah.
Really? I don't think I do.
I saved it, dude. I want it from the first minute we get in there.
Smart. Man, so excited, so hyped. So
yeah.
Oh, I will mention, of course, this was from the first year, but the ultimate hangover cure. Have your buddy give you an IV bag of fluids.
Yeah, so in this scenario, you need to be a medical professional. You need access to IVs. So Steven, very hungover, is like, oh, I brought something for this. And I'm very squeamish. I don't like blood. I don't like medicine. I believe in medicine. I just don't want it to happen to me. It's like, oh, help me. I'm going to give myself this IV bag.
Yeah. So I had to start an IV on myself, which is not as easy as it sounds. I don't know if it sounds easy, but it's not. And of course, like when you have an IV in one arm, now you've sort of lost the ability to do anything with the IV with the one hand. So I had to have Jason.
I had to assist.
Yeah.
I like blacked out. I don't remember what happened.
He's like, man, they're going to think like the mafia was in here with doing a surgical procedure.
Yeah, we did like a hotel surgery. Like you got shot, but you couldn't go to a hospital. Yeah.
I rallied though that next day because this.
It works.
Yeah, I mean, this is the same. We're talking about the same time where I was like just puking on the side of the mountain. I think I pretty much slept the whole way back. I felt so terrible. And I was like, I don't think we can make it to the next session. I really don't think we can do it. And then I did because I got my fluid. So
yes, that is no joke. If you have the ability to give yourself IV fluid. Yeah. That was not on my BuzzFeed list.
Yeah. Have you ever seen these hangover buses?
No.
Yeah, they're really popular in Las Vegas, and it's called a hangover bus, and it's basically just this huge tour bus thing, and you go on, and you have to fill out some paperwork and stuff, and they all have like a medical director. I don't think they have a doctor on staff. I think there's like probably a nurse and some other people, other techs or something, but they basically will give you, they'll hook you up to an IV. It depends on how much you pay, so you can get like a bag of fluids. If you pay more, you can get like a bag of fluids with some anti-nausea medicine in it. You can get pain medication and anti-nausea medication in your IV. Yeah.
They can really fix you up. Yeah.
Yep. You can get out of there feeling pretty good. So, like I said, Las Vegas is super popular just because it's like, it's like drinking the whole time and you want to just like keep going.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's pretty cool actually. I've always thought, man, what a brilliant idea. Brilliant.
That's a really good idea because that is what you need.
Yeah. It costs like $250 or something to get you.
Oh, it's so expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only been to Vegas once, but I wish something like that existed when I was in Vegas.
Yeah. Should start a hangover bus and park it outside the beer festival. We should just park it outside of all beer festivals.
Yeah, we can
make that our new business. Yeah.
I like it. We can have a optional Gatorade with emergency and
that one's $10.
Yeah, $10 for a Gatorade with emergency and Pepto.
Then you're looking at all these people getting IVs, like feeling amazing. You're like, I guess I want to try that actually.
Well, that'll be $250, sir. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's great.
All right. Well, do you have any other hangover cures for us, Steven?
No, that's it. I got all my medical knowledge in one episode.
I'll see you in a week, buddy.
So excited.
And we'll got to figure out how to record, but we'll be recording on site, probably at the hotel after. But yeah, she's probably too noisy in the convention center.
Yeah, I think we'll be good. We'll have a lot to talk about for sure. So.
Definitely. So definitely don't miss next week, episode 80. This has been Attenuation Podcast. You can reach us on Instagram at attenuation.podcast and also on email at contact.attenuation@gmail.com. And this has been episode 79 of Attenuation of Your Podcast. My name is Jason, and I'm joined by my best friend since 8th grade, Steven.
That's me.
We're saying cheers. Coming at you next week from Colorado.
All right. Cheers, buddy.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Attenuation, a beer podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and follow us on Instagram or Facebook for more fun content. Catch you next week. Cheers!